right, to keep up with keeping your lives tight, tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need, to be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hearer of all whom pleads? Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown, to worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne?
Welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister Idris Taha, and with me, as always, the pleasure to have my co-host, Brother Fakir Abdul-Aziz, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, and Holy Queen Mother Rabbi Saleem. May I eat this peace and other blessings be with everybody's presence.
May I use this peace and blessings.
And all, we're going to thank those viewers who are A.H.A.D believers out there in the viewing audience. We want to thank you for tuning into our program. We always hope that you enjoy what you're hearing, that we hope you're educated by the message and the word that we bring forth in this program. And we continue to try to give forth the Lord's message for the day and the sign of the time that's being manifested. With that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to go from, a general broad topic today, conversation, really, Whatever we put in the potluck and whatever we pull out, we go into, brothers and sisters, Holy Apostle, Holy Queen.
First of all, I'd like to say, may I use this peace and blessings be with you about your presence.
May I use this peace and let your presence as well.
It's been about a month or so since I've seen you all. You know, and it's my pleasure to be in your company again.
Same here, likewise, definitely likewise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to better days. I got these minor health issues, but we keeping on. Got to do the Lord's work.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about. But I know one of the things I would like to touch on, for example, I was reading, a matter of fact, in the paper today about how they keep over not really presenting both the news out there concerning the recession. They keep skimming like we're about to go into the recession, we're about to go into recession. And I looked in a paper on the internet today, they were saying that we've been in recession for 2 years already.
Yeah.
That they're putting forth now.
Right.
And it's going into a depression.
Yeah.
And our people out here, between the housing crunch, the economic crisis, the people losing jobs and homes. People are still in the media, those who run the world, or those who are so-called, those who are behind the scenes, keep putting an issue like everything is okay. So now they putting out there, now they got the brother who just got caught, the governor, for example, in New York.
Right, another
got caught the deflection of what's really
going on. I just saw a prompt recently that supposedly the recession hasn't happened yet. There was a news
That's what I'm saying,
that said that they're going to do something to avoid a recession. To avoid a recession.
Well, the president is sending out tax relief. I don't know what $600 relief would do for anybody. But if we go into recession, I don't think that's going to buy you enough food to store up for 3 months, unless you're eating a bean a day. But I think what the thing that disturbs me with what's going on in society is that a lot of our people is not taking things serious.
Yeah.
We as a people don't take things serious. We just go about our business as usual, and we're not taking heed to the signs that the Lord keeps showing us. We're just, like we're in this zone, and nothing is, we're not relating to anything of importance. We're still relating to, I'm going out this weekend to party, get my drink on, I'm going home to chill. I cannot believe, and I apologize. I'm not trying to be critical, but our people is so locked up into television, like The Wire. Our people like The Wire. I mean, you would not believe unless you out there in corporate America how much our people is taken by The Wire. And they saying it's real as everyday life. Yeah, it's real as everyday life, so you don't need to watch it on TV. You don't need to get locked up into them characters. And them characters making a lot of money. And the people behind the characters, the Caucasian people, are making much, much more money on black atrocities. The characters in The Wire is just like your neighbor next door, your cousin over here, maybe your brother, maybe your sister, but we getting so locked up in The Wire that we're not even taking time to see what's really going on in our lives outside of that television. And it's a great concern of mine, because if the parent is locked up into that, then what hope is it for the child?
I would say,
you know,
like by the time you look to take out, the time it's bedtime, the day is already over. If The Wire or whatever shows before that, it's just preoccupied in people's minds. And historically hasn't been that. Like when conquerors like Alexander or someone like that, they would always go after the minds first, take the people's minds out. Today, television and the ads today are the new weapons of propaganda, of getting people's minds.
And yeah, go ahead. And the thing that disturbs me is, I'm in a situation where I can hear all type of conversation, and we're so deep into a slumber that we don't realize. I mean, the topic of conversation now is my man wants me to be a certain way. We got brothers still out here trying to make Muslims out of sisters, and they don't understand Islam, because they understood Islam, they would know they can't make a sister a Muslim. And they go about falsely portraying Islam so that they could get a good lay, and they're not upholding Islam, so Allah is not pleased with them. So they're so far asleep. So we don't have the brothers leading anymore. We have so many incidents of young people disrespecting our sisters and our elderly brothers and sisters, because what Elijah brought has been totally erased. Back in the day when Elijah had brought the Nation of Islam to the forefront, we had brothers that would never let young people take over the so-called hood. There was no such thing as young people robbing and killing an old man. There was no such thing as a brother could stand on the corner and talk crap to a woman. We
squashed that.
And that is totally gone. So we have sisters that's really running a man and circle playing with their mind, so the man can keep his attention on them.
Well, we still got Farrakhan, smoking mirrors and.
Well, nobody. Let me tell you, the sad part about it is the young people don't even take him serious. But
how can you?
Right, you can't.
When you know this guy is just up there with fame and fortune, how can you when you see a man who claims to be a divine reminder, a leader, and he has no program other than emulating somebody else's program, and then acting as though he got the master plan? How can you when they know that, like Elijah, you got so many people who was in the Nation of Islam that know that Elijah said there was one to come after him with a book and the Lord, right? Farrakhan is playing games, so how can people, believe him when he said, "Well, I got the book," or "I know the book," or "This is the, I mean."
Well, the other thing that's
it's smoke and mirrors. There's so many things, like he had made a speech and said that, well, if you can't handle this, what did he call that? The precursor is the
forerunner. I can't remember now. Looking back, because he say so much.
He say so much, and then he leave you out there and saying things like, he met with Elijah on the mothership. Elijah's still alive. Elijah, when he died, he had a mole on this side, but when he was living, the mole was on that side. It wasn't alive. All these different things. But see, when Elijah came, why Elijah was so effective, and this is the absolute truth, why Elijah was so effective. It wasn't what he said. It wasn't how he carried himself. It wasn't no show that he put on. It was that the fact that Allah was with him, and the spirit of Allah was with him. He was under the command of Allah. Even if he had not the enlightenment where he knew Allah in the way Prophet Muhammad or Jesus knew Allah, he knew that Allah came to him in the person, in that man, Master Farad, that Allah or an angel spoke to him through this man. And that Allah showed him certain miracles to support that he was with this, that it was with this man. And Elijah went from that, and Allah gave him faith that he held on to his dying days. Now, people want to, look at Malcolm X because the jinn, these people you talking about in theater and what have you, leading to people's minds. They wanted people to forget about Elijah because they knew that Elijah was the Elijah in the book of Malachi.
Right.
They knew that he was the one. And they knew that Samuel was supposed to come, and they was concerned, because they had been trying to kill a messenger who was to come, from the 40s, 50s on up.
60s, right.
Kill him as an infant, just like they did with Moses.
Right.
You understand? People can't fathom that. They can't see that as happening today. 1,000 years from now, the story will be told, and people will believe it. You understand?
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Today, it's like seeing is believing or knowing is believing, or even if you see, you don't believe. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't want to be the dead horse, but what can you do? We talked about this back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this thing happening. Ahezaah gave us visions, gave me visions. I related them to you. You seen things come to pass already. You see this was happening today, right now. We talked about, before the year 2000, Ahezaah put it in the book, And our people are, they take it and they have to be taken because their ancestors were taken.
Yeah.
Their parents were taken. They have to be taken. You understand?
Yes.
The devil gonna take so many out. It's been prophesied that so many gonna be taken out, and only few gonna survive. You understand? But the thing about it is, those of you who, in the audience, people in the world who are aware, you need to, tighten up your belt straps and get real with your Lord.
Definitely.
Stop ignoring the latest messages of the Lord Most High. See, like the Christians, how they go wrong. They say that Jesus is this, that, and the other, and they believe in Christ and not telling the truth that Christ and Jesus is two different beings, two different entities.
Right.
You understand? Jesus' name was not Christ. If his name was Christ, then Mary's name was Christ.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And they need to relate to what Muhammad brought.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to go back and relate to what all the other prophets brought.
Yeah.
Right.
Going beyond the Bible, that collection that those antichrists amongst the Roman Catholics put together 300 years after Jesus' passing.
Right.
They need to dig down themselves as individuals and get into the religion, just like the Muslims. They need to stop with this false religion of Hadithism, adding things to the Holy Quran. They got books that they put together and call it the Quran, and people are so confused. You got Muslims coming and they start quoting from the Hadith, thinking they quoting from the Holy Quran. They think they quoting something divine and they quoting something from man. You understand?
But yeah.
That
verse Allah said in the Quran about that. Thinking they quote from the book, think it's a part of the book, but it's not a part of the book.
Right.
And they do it all the time.
And let me just run this.
Mm-hmm.
They're so, when you talk about the Muslims today, we talk about the people sleeping.
Right.
You got the people who are depending on the religious people. See, you always had two forces. Mm-hmm. You had the politicians and you had the religious people.
Yeah.
People were dependent on the religious people to deliver them.
Right.
And what the religious people have done from Muslims down to all the way down to whomever, what they have done is delivered them into the hands of the Dajjal, the hands of the Antichrist,
that's right,
the hands of Satan.
Yeah.
You got Muslims that are so lost, they don't even know Islam. They mixing Islam all up with all these other things. You understand? And then they going out saying things, like for instance, you can have a conversation. Me and you could be having a conversation. Muslim walk up, foreigner, African American, whatever. Jump in our conversation because we talking about Islam. How arrogant, how disrespectful. You understand? Mm-hmm. Would Muhammad do that? Would Jesus do that? You understand? No. That's impolite.
Mm-hmm.
I had got a phone call from one of my daughters who was working with a lady, and a young daughter, trying to feel her way through society. Mm-hmm. She's about to graduate and she want to get a taste of working, earning money for herself. She's going to college and so forth and so on. And the lady have her painting her face and selling balloons and things of that nature. So she was out at Redemption Center.
In J-Pack.
In J-Pack.
Yeah.
And A foreigner came to her, Muslim. I tried to stay even keel, man, but my blood boiled before I knew it. I'm on the other end of the phone. I wanted to jump through the phone so I can grab hold of this guy. Told her that she's going to hell because she got her face painted.
No, because she painted other kids.
No, because she had her face painted.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because the lady have them put on a little something herself. She take that stuff off, you know. And he has said that anybody, Allah said in the Holy Quran, that anybody that alters their face is going to hell, right? And she called me and she said, Daddy, what should I do? Because now she ready to quit the job. I said, is that guy still near you? She said, yes. I said, give him the phone. She said, well, he's not near me, Daddy, you know, because she know me. I said, if he come back to you, ask him, do he shave? Do he cut his mustache? Do he cut his hair? And if he say, yeah, tell him I said he going to hell.
That's right.
You know, how hypocritical, how contradicting is all these things. I recall it being written in the translation. I'm not going to try to act like I know Arabic because I know in the translation of the Quran, they have mistranslated quite a few things, but I know in the translation, Allah advised the women to not pluck their eyebrows, hairs from their face to make themselves attractive. Allah try to guide people into not making themselves physically attractive to beguile someone. You know, to take someone off, take them out of their right mind by looking at them. How many women in your life have you been attracted to from their looks to find out that their brains is shot?
Not even know who they are as people.
You understand? And you going, your body, your mind going into this lust mode or this desire mode. You know, if you're not up on your game, you'll get lost. I seen Muslim women that back in the 70s, when I first started noticing, in the 80s, when they start really wearing them veils and stuff, oh, they was decked out in that eyeliner and stuff, man. And they look at you with them eyes, and I said, wow. Now, Allah got them, I mean, they brothers, the husbands got them covered from head to toe. Only thing they got is an eye, and they take you off with the eye. I mean, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a sad day. But you know, like I said, I hate to beat a dead horse, but Ahezaah said this was gonna happen. It said it was gonna happen. It must happen. Our people ain't right because they believe in the material things. They believe in the jinn. They believe in the men of power. They believe in people with riches. Yeah. You understand? More so than they believe in submitting themselves or submitting them children to the obedience of the Creator Most High, which is the Lord and Master over all religions. When I say all religions, I'm not just talking about formal religions. I'm talking about religions of the men in the street drinking wine and shooting dope and working on their job, making their job a religion, whatever way of life you are, that master, the one who's the master of Jesus and everybody else. You understand? They don't want to submit to that. They want to submit to what they can touch. You know, because they're being guided in that way, and it's a sad state of affairs that so many of them have to die and find out that the Lord, you know, the Creator, the Lord of the throne is real, and that the life hereafter, the life in the unseen realm is more real in this world, that this in fact is a world of illusions. Yeah. You know, which so many people do not understand when you say that. Say, how can this be a world of illusion? Which it is, you know, and then those Muslims, you know, millions of Muslims dying, martyring themselves, thinking they're going to paradise. What shock will they find themselves in for following that false religion of Hadithism in Islam? You know, like Christianity comes from what Ahezaah gave to Moses. Hadithism comes from what Ahezaah gave to Muhammad. Yeah. You understand? And that, you know, Catholicism comes from some paganistic religion that they mixed with what they devised to say that was a part of Jesus in Christianity. You know, that antichrist thing, man.
Well, let me just say this here. I had a discussion And I felt bad afterwards because I really don't like to have so much a religious debate. But it bothers me. And not that I want to be right. It bothers me when I know that a person has taken in. First of all, my whole thing is this here with our people. And like it or not, you come upon Christianity because your slave master told you to worship Jesus.
Right.
That's how you came upon Christianity.
Right.
Because your slave master said, okay, niggas, we want you to worship this God, our God, the one we have put on this cross, this Caucasian man. You cannot tell me that when our people are relating to Jesus, they are not relating to that Caucasian man that the white man has have made a picture of in their mind, their heart, their soul, up on that cross.
It's deep in that
And the
psyche.
thing is, they told us that we allow you today to have our religion, which is Christianity.
And we will feed you, we'll give you jobs, we'll do this, just like what they do when they invade other countries.
Yes.
And a lot of people say, I'm Christian and don't know why they are Christian. They're just following the ways of their forefathers. And it bothered me for someone, a Mormon, to tell me that Jesus, and I said the ignorance of people, I had to really withdraw and beg Allah to put me down, because see, I like to be humble in the eyes of Allah. You know, it ain't about me knowing, it's about me bearing witness to. To say that Jesus endured more, Jesus was more than a prophet of Allah, more than any of the ones you call prophet, because it endured much more than any other. Who are you to judge? You know, David was in the who was in the well, in the belly of the well? Wait a minute, Jonah. How can you say what? If, to my knowledge, Allah was merciful to Jesus and caused him to go in an unconscious state while he was up on that cross. To my knowledge, so how can you pick to say this is the Lord Most High only begotten Son when He created Adam first?
Right.
And belittle the other messenger prophet of Allah and their trials because Caucasian people, you are Mormon? Caucasian people told you, come on, you could worship this. So we're still enslaved in our mind with the Caucasian. Before you go on, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Now, then we got the Muslims. Up here, how can a young brother take a Muslim brother serious and he got on a skirt? How can they take you serious when you make your outer being more important than your inner being, and you're not never, and that brother up on West Kenny, a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about him because he got his people talking about Wild Lakem and all this kind of stuff. He got them like cartoon characters out here portraying this as Islam.
West Kenny and Martin Luther King book.
Yes, portraying this as Islam. He needs to be ashamed of himself, portraying this stuff he called Islam and never taking the people to the essence of Islam, which is beyond the clothing and the flesh and the language. You know, he don't even let people, don't have that even broken down to his people that Allah, the unseen, is not for us to worship within our outer man. You know, and that's why young people don't have no respect for the Muslims today, because they're looked upon as clowns.
One of the things,
they say, and the things they say is what. And then when you sit in a circle, then they trying to figure out where you come from, not realizing that Allah is one, and Prophet Muhammad was the seal of all that came before it.
Right.
Prophet Muhammad didn't leave nothing for you to question. It sealed up that which Allah gave to Adam all the way up to its time. And that's where the seal came in, and not the closure, the seal.
Seal of approval.
A seal of approval told you that what came before, not all that shenanigans that people saying about Jesus and the Easter bunny and the egg and the, come on. And I still have not yet been able to get someone, and I asked our listening audience, if somebody can explain to me where the egg and the bunny came in regards to Jesus being crucified on that cross and rising up again, I'm waiting for that answer, because I still don't know where this egg and bunny came from. But all this foolishness all the foolishness that we have accepted. We dress our kids up. We don't even know why we dress. Our kids can't even relate to us or trust us or try to follow in our footsteps because they know that we silly. After a while, children grow up and know their parents are silly. Trust me.
I can tell you where Friday the 13th comes from, and 13 being an unlucky number. You know, because Ahezaah made it clear to me that the jinn who always want to take you away from the truth. First of all, the 13 represents Allah and the angels.
Right.
You understand? That's that 1 and that 3. And the devils, Satan and his dupes, they're afraid of that number. They hate that number with a passion. Therefore, they put it on their buildings, and they put it, you know, like you have a building 24 stories, you don't have a 13th floor. They make sure that the 13th is in the floor, mechanical floor, where the public don't use it. They want to erase that number. You understand? But my Lord said that what they have done, they've associated Friday when Jesus was taken off the cross because of the hour of the Sabbath came in with the angels and Allah releasing him and causing him to escape the death that they was trying to put on him. And then so they turned that around to a hallowed religion like Halloween and Friday the 13th and try to make you think it's from the devil so you would hate it as a person. You would stay away from it. You would, you know, despise it and run from it. When 13 is a number you should run to, the symbolism of the 13. You understand? But see, people don't know because they let other people educate them without them investigating.
True.
Just like in Islam, like you say, Holy Queen Mother, they worship on the sleeve, so to speak. You know, instead of going into the essence. How can you ever get to Allah's understanding, Allah's knowledge or the experience of Allah, you understand, without receiving that from Allah? How much do you believe in Allah? Are you spooked out? You know, how much? Why is it that so many people believe in the devil more than they believe in Allah? You say the devil, they get shook up. You say Allah, they cool. But Allah is to be feared more than the devil. The devil fears Allah. Because Allah is the creator of that devil, the sustainer of that devil, the one that give that devil a vision to see and the evil to do. Huh? Yes. Because this world wholly belongs to it. But religious people don't want to relate to that. As soon as something negative happens, they say, oh, that's from the devil. That ain't from Allah. That's not from God. Come on. How you going to give something in the world power that belongs to the sole owner and the sole power of all infinity?
That's because, and I'm telling you, I've had serious conversation with people, and I try to let them know that you put limitation on Allah like you put on yourself. You can't limit Allah. If you say that Allah is all powerful, then how can you limit whatever take place and say that Allah had nothing to do with it? If it is all powerful, then that means it has power over all things.
Well, one of the things I either show is that in the reality that they don't believe in the whole book of Allah, so they take a part of the book which they like. Another part they don't like, they put behind their back. Now Allah tells us in chapter 2, those who believe in it and the unseen first. Now, if you're dealing with the unseen, then you got to deal with the angels on the higher realms coming manifesting on this plane for man, and people don't want to get with that. They think Holy Apostle said, you start talking about spookism. And then the second thing that a lot of people know, especially in the Muslim, especially in this area here, those slave masters of the Arabs have got them thinking that they wearing them little sarongs, what you want to call them, the beard, that their Islam is only in the outer appearance. So they think they're representing or following in the Sunnah, as they quote, as Prophet Muhammad. But Allah said, the reality, the Sunnah of Muhammad was what he sent down of his whole inner being. Muhammad set himself aside when he went to the cave of Hira, when Allah manifested Jibril to him and spoke to him, said, rise and speak, give forth the word. Now, how many of them set themselves aside dealing with the reality of the inner world?
And Muhammad was doing that before he became enlightened.
Exactly.
Right.
So they don't even deal with those things because that takes them to the, like Holy Apostle dealing with the essence. Allah is real. Allah is his. Allah said in the Quran beautifully to the people, wherever two are joined, I'm the third there. If four more, I'm the fifth. So Allah is always present at all. And they always say they preach these beautiful words of Islam. Allah is all knowing, all hear, all wise, but they don't believe Allah is all hearing, all seeing, all wise.
Because they're part of the jinn.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed?